and nurture the young students by supporting them to work with new ideas into the prototypes while they are in formative years. So as a part of this activity, Saurashtra University also forms the Institute Innovation Council, and university has followed the activity assigned by the Institute Innovation Council and the Ministry of Education Innovation Council. So today we have organized one lecture on the basis of valuation process, requirement, eligibility stage, and startup etc. with step by the with our eminent speaker, Dr. Anjali Choksi. We know that as we know that Anjali Choksi is a chartered accountant. She has started his job as a chartered accountant in Ahmedabad and GSL with a chartered account, more than 15 year experience of teaching at a postgraduate institute of course on derivatives and risk management, direct and indirect taxes, and Microsoft Excel. She has started his career as a full-time accountant and finance faculty. She has published more than 25 papers in various national and international journals, and she is an expert in all kinds of valuation business, branch startup, IBC, M&A, and all valuation compliances as per the Companies Act and Income Act and area. Working as a partner of DJN co-chartered accountant in the area of professional and registered value of securities. So with this short introduction, I welcome you, madam, for further on behalf of Saurashtra University Startup and Startup and Entrepreneurship Council. And without wasting time, we want to take a more advantage from your side. So please welcome on this, and thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to request CA Dr. Anjali Choksi to start the session and give their insights and experience about startup valuation. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
This is the first question we asked in today's high-tech world. Am I audible? And no doubt, since last 3 months, we have forgotten this habit. But yes, it's a blessing, especially when we are not around and we can have such kind of mechanisms where we can share the knowledge. So thank you. Grateful to Dr. Ranjan ji for nice introduction. And we are really glad to know that Saurashtra University is so much keen and pioneer in taking the startups to the next level. I'm also thankful to Dr. Hitesh Shukla for giving me this opportunity and Dr. Parth for coordinating this whole session. A very good morning to all the students, faculties, and those who are there on the platform. As discussed by Dr. Ranjan, we are going to talk about, specially about the startup valuation. Let me share my slides with you. Yeah. Is this slide visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the title is Startup Valuation. So in this next 1 hour, we would be talking about what is this startup, how do we value startups, and would be taking certain case studies where you must have heard that startups are incurring losses, but how come their valuation is too high? So we'll try to understand this anomaly also. And we'll talk about business valuation. We'll talk about the methods to value these startups. So let's begin the session. I hope we can have an interactive session where I can check the chat box if they have any questions.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So what will I do is once I complete the session, we'll have the chat box open where you have any questions. You can type your questions there and I would be replying. So let's start the session. Okay. Yeah. So what is valuation? What was the landscape of valuation before the IBBI took over the valuation landscape? Valuation is not only numbers. Valuation is not only assumptions. We say that valuation is both an art as well as science, a perfect combination of both the things. Now let me explain you what is art, what is science. Of course, science is, there must be certain specific methods, there must be certain techniques, there must be certain principles. So we have to follow that. I'll come to when we talk about the startup valuation, I'll tell you why a particular approach or a particular method is more suitable for startup. So it's a science. It has its own methods, it has its own techniques, it has its own thing where we follow perfectly that logically. So it's a science. Now where does the art comes into picture? I'm a registered valuer, and we value various kinds of proposals, whether it is mergers and acquisition, whether it is takeover, whether it is absorption, whether it is brand valuation, whether it is startup valuation. We do all types of valuation. So we have our own experience. We use our own assumptions. For example, if it is a risky venture, we use higher discount rate, right? If it is a in estimating the life of the company, we take from 5 years to 10 years. So there are various kinds of assumption we use. So that is where an art plays a role. So valuation is neither a science nor an art, but a perfect blend of both of them. Now let us look at what is valuation. Simple, finding out its worth. For example, let's say अगर हम लंदन में जाते हैं तो लंदन में दाबेली बहुत costly मिलती है, but pizza is like peanuts for them. So similarly in India, vice versa, pizza is more costly than a dabeli. So basically you are trying to find out the worth of anything. It can be anything. It can be an asset, it can be a liability, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a company. So basically you are trying to quantify the worth of that product as on a particular time. As on a particular time means, let's say it's simple. Market Sensex is today 60,000. So so it is as on a particular date, let's say 25th August at 11:04. Bank Nifty is, let's say, 39,354. So it is the value as on a particular date, as on a particular time. Now, किस types का valuation? What is the landscape of valuation in India? Initially, the valuation was under the role of MCA. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs used to regulate this valuation profession. But when IBBI came with the IBC code, they took over the valuation landscape, and they say now that the valuation can be done only under three asset classes. The first is plant and machinery, second is land and building, and third is the financial assets. So those assets which do not come in the first two above categories, that is plant and machinery and land and building, falls under the category of the last, that is the securities and financial assets. And I, being a registered valuer, I can value the थर्ड कैटेगरी वेयर ऑल द एसेट्स. कौन आता है फाइनेंशियल एसेट्स में? बैलेंस शीट की सब आइटम्स. आप प्लांट एंड मशीनरी और लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग को निकाल दो, उसके अलावा जितनी भी एसेट बचती है दैट कम्स अंडर द कैटेगरी ऑफ फाइनेंशियल एसेट्स. क्रेडिटर्स है, डेटर्स है, receivables है, loans and advances है. So now there are only three types of valuers in India, registered values under all these categories. Warren Buffett, the Rakesh Junjunwala represents India, says that the managers and investors alike must understand that accounting number is the beginning, not the end. And that's where the journey of business valuation starts. Bookkeeping, the accounts number is there, but that's just the beginning, it's not the end. You go much further beyond in valuation. Going ahead, what is value then? For example, the value of a company is, let's say, as of now, I am doing a valuation of an arm boats, a company which produces products for defense. Let's say the valuation comes 40 crore today. So what do you mean by 40 crore? What does that 40 crore signify? It is just a subjective term. Value to one person may not be the same to value for another person. There are several forces, many factors which affect this value, or the value of, let's say, a value of property. There are environmental factors, physical characteristics of the property, the social standards. For example, the value in Ahmedabad, the value in Prahlad Nagar of the property will not be the same of the value of the property in, let's say, Ellis Bridge. So economic trends, the political or government. So it's basically value is just an economic concept. It's not a fact. Again, a drastic thing to be noted here is it's an estimate of the likely price. कौन value decide करता है? It is just by buyers and sellers. Depend the forces of demand and supply. They decide कि इसकी value क्या हो सकती है. According to Ashwath Damodaran, he is the god. You must be knowing that he is the godfather of valuation. He says that the value of a firm is a function of three factors: its capacity to generate cash flow, the growth in these cash flows, and at the same time, the risk or the uncertainty which is associated with the cash flows. So value is just a economic concept and it's not a fact. If we take that, yes, this is a fact, and we can if we use it blindly for other purposes, it cannot be possible. It's just an economic concept. Now you must have heard of business valuation. What is business valuation? We have understood valuation, we have understood value. So now what is business valuation? Business valuation nothing but the worth of the business. Let's say आज Myntra को अपना business sell करना है, right? So what is the price at which the Myntra can be sold off? Similarly Zomato, similarly Paytm. So the value of a business can be significantly different from its economic value. Here I will take some time. By economic value, we means the value which is there in the balance sheet is will be entirely different from which the value of a business. And that's what the crux of startup ventures are. Profit up books. आप देखोगे कि the startup businesses are running in losses, then why investors are investing in them? Why the investors are buying them at so high rate? So the book value of a business is entirely different from the price at which the startup is selling. Why? There is a set of procedures used to determine the economic worth or the current worth of a business using objective measures and evaluating all aspects of the business. I would say that the book value represents the history, whereas the worth of a business represents the future growth potential of that business. So the business valuation includes the analysis of the company's management, what is the current capital structure, what is the growth potential, what is the market value of its assets. So the business valuation is entirely different from the book valuation. Now, why do we need business valuation? Of course, we have clearly understood when we talk about the startup, there are various rounds of funding taking place at different points in time. So, of course, we need valuation at each stage. So, sale or purchase of business, mergers and acquisition. I would be talking about two case studies today. One would be the Myntra, another would be the fintech firm. So Myntra has also acquired a stake, has purchased Flipkart, has purchased Jabong. So at various stage of purchase and acquisitions, you need the value of the company, capital restructuring, how much debt we should have, how much equity we should have, divorce cases, visa requirement where we need to find out the net worth of the individual, employee stock option schemes when we are giving options to employees to take part in the profit making of the business. Then also we need the valuation. We need valuation for tax purposes, for financial reporting purposes, for loan disbursement, for partnership dissolution, for IPR, intellectual property. The companies where there are software, कोई बुक लिखता है तो कॉपीराइट राइट्स, लेट्स से द डिफेंस की जो मैं बात करूँ तो उसमें वो टेक्नोलॉजी बनाने का पेटेंट है. सो देयर आल्सो वी नीड टू वैल्यू ब्रांड. सो देयर आर वेरियस रीजंस टू for which valuation is required, for which business valuation is required. Sometimes you must have gone through that code. Also appoints a forensic accountant as a joint expert to conduct the business valuation. So there are various reasons we need business valuation. Now, directly we are coming to what is startup valuation. As I shared, startup is quantifying the worth, right? A startup goes through various rounds of funding. With the first stage, it is the seed funding, right? So at every rounds of funding, it becomes equally important entrepreneurs के लिए और investors. બંને માટે equally important છે કે આનું valuation થાય. Of course, entrepreneurs એવું જ કહેશે કે મારો idea બહુ superb છે, મારા જેવો કોઈનો idea નહીં, and I will mint money. At the same time, investors are pro. They know the kind of startup environment, they know the sectors flourishing, they know. So investors will always dilute the confidence, dilute the idea potential of the entrepreneur. So both of them are interested to know कि આ company કેટલાની છે, and why they are interested, because they are going to buy the stake. The entrepreneur is going to dilute the stake, the investor is going to take the stake. એટલે બંને જગ્યાએ એ લોકોને કંપનીની worth is very very important. So fundamentally, of course, startup valuation always gives you a range. For example, મેં કોઈ કંપનીનું valuation આપ્યું 40 crore. That doesn't mean કે 40 crore જ transaction થશે. right? It is just an estimate, it is just a range, it is just a guesswork. જ્યાંથી negotiation or જ્યાંથી discussion ચાલુ થશે. It may end up above 40 crore, it may end up below 40 crore. But yes, both of them got an idea કે આ business worth 40 crore નું છે. Then they will go in detail કે what goes into the valuation of this 40 crore, કેટલું revenue મૂક્યું છે, કેટલો ખર્ચો મૂક્યો છે. But yes, fundamentally this can be a starting point to take the discussion ahead, both for investor and both for entrepreneur. Now we will look at some of the fact of the stage of now my remaining slides are all giving you an idea about the startup in India, and then I would be talking about the valuation at the end. Yeah. So this is how the investment deals in startup across India in a time frame from 16 to 2021. So these are the number of deals. For example, 2016 we were at a stage of 300 deals, and now in 2021 it is almost 3 times higher in 2000. These are number of deals. Of course, the size in each of them will differ. कोई 30 करोड़ का हो सकता है, कोई 200 करोड़ का हो सकता है. I'm just talking about the number of deals. On the right hand side, you can see some of the greatest acquisitions which have taken place in the world. In terms of the last two columns shows us the value, and the last column is the return. For example, Instagram, or the acquired, and who is the acquirer. For example, Meta has taken the Instagram, Google has taken the YouTube, Google has taken the Android, Google has taken the Google Maps, and you can see the value at which these transactions have been taken place. You can see the return value ranging from 3x, 715x. By x I mean the multiplier. Okay, for example, 1 રૂપિયો છે તો 1 રૂપિયો અત્યારે કેટલો વધ્યો છે? 2 ગણા થયા છે, 3 ગણા થયા છે, 10. So I'm putting the 10x. By x it says how x is the multiplier which says કે આ 1 રૂપિયો કેટલો વધી ગયો છે. So you can see the varied ranges of the x multiplier here, which the last one being the higher, the 1 billion value, and the return they have got is 715. So 1 rupee has increased to 700 times in the deal of Meta acquiring Instagram. Next, we discuss about the seed, the stages of startup funding. By stages of startup funding, I mean baby jare motu thai, for example. Then we called it infant, then toddler, then teenage. So these are the stages how a human being grows. In the same way, the type of funding which happens in this startup, they will differ, and at different point in time the types of fund will be different. First is the seed capital. As the name suggests, seed. Just as a plant grow from a seed, they have taken the name from that seed capital. That is the earliest source of investment for any startup. Then comes angel investors. Now, who are the angel investors? As the name suggests, એમનું નામ જ angel investors છે. So they come like angels, right? Angels એટલે આપણે કહીએ ને, that fairy, that god who gives. So angel investors who give funds. અત્યારે they don't share anything. Basically, they are private investors, or we call it high net worth individuals. High net worth individuals, of course, they have a definition according to Securities Exchange Commission. They are individuals who have a net worth of at least $1 million, or they have annual income of at least $200,000 individually, or combinedly $300 for the past 2 years. So basically, they are private investors. They like your idea. They can be family, friends, anybody who has this huge amount of money, and they invest in your business. And why they are called angels? Because અત્યારે એ લોકોને business નું કશું જ ખબર ના હોય, and they come like God for you કે તમને business આપે છે. Next stage, જ્યારે તમારું business grow કરવાનું ચાલુ થાય છે, તમને I'm just got a message that I'm not audible.
No, you're audible. I think you need to rejoin.
Okay, fine. Let me know if, if anything is, yeah. So next is venture capital. Now this financing is a mature financing. પહેલા ભગવાન કહીને તમને એન્જલ ઇન્વેસ્ટરે પૈસા આપ્યા બધું જ થયું, but now when your business grows at a certain level, બિઝનેસમાં થોડુંક કંઈક એડવાન્સમેન્ટ થાય છે. યોર આઈડિયા હેઝ સ્ટાર્ટેડ ડેવલપિંગ. ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ આપણે સીડમાં જોઈએ તો જ્યારે આપણે સીડ રોપીએ અને પછી એનામાંથી એક દાંડી થાય, એક બે લીવ્સ થાય, એ વીઝમાંથી થોડા ઇંચ પ્લાન્ટ વધે. તો યુ કેન જજ કે આ પ્લાન્ટ હવે ગ્રો થવાનું છે, એને સરખું ખાવા પીવાનું મળે છે, so it is growing. In the same way, જ્યારે venture capitalists come at an advanced level, so I have clearly written here, they come at a stage where they want to scale the business. Right now it is not survival, it is growing the business. So when they want to scale the business, they have seen the potential and now they want to scale the business. Here come the venture capitalists. Now why they have been given the name venture capitalist? Venture capitalist means apart from capital, they also share their expertise with you. They have this just a second, I need to shorten this chat box, just a second. Yeah, okay. So why they are called venture capitalists? Apart from capital, they also give their expertise એટલે they look at your business કે ક્યાં તમને જરૂર છે, તમને માર્કેટિંગમાં જરૂર છે, તમને પ્રોડક્શનમાં જરૂર છે, ફાઇનાન્સ તો they will definitely bring, but they will also advise you, right? And that's why they are called venture capitalists. They differ from angel investors. Angel investors do not participate in the execution or in the management of the company, but venture capitalists, they bring their expertise apart from funds, and that's why they are called venture capital. Next round is the loan. When the business has flourished, business saru progress કરે છે, the scale up business is done, then before we go into IPO, then there is a stage where we invite date. It's basically in this kind, it's called bridge loans from the stage of venture capital to IPO લાવવા પહેલા બહુ જ બધો expenses incur કરવો પડે છે, because an IPO is a very costly affair. And why we need an IPO? Right, જે આગળ જેટલા બી venture capitalists છે, angel investors, એ બધાને exit આપવું પડશે ને. આજે હું નવા investors invite કરું એની પહેલા I need to give good amount of returns to those people who have invested in my funds when the stage of when the growth of the company was very niche. So before I went into IPO, I need lot of money. So here I come with a mid arrangement, a bridge loan, whereby I restructure my equity કે થોડું ડેટ બી લાવું તો શું થાય કે ફિક્સ્ડ રેટ ઓફ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ આપી દઉં ડેટને, so the remaining interest belongs, the remaining profit belongs to equity, and at the same time I get a good support in terms of money before I go into IPO. And the last stage everybody knows is IPO. Just a second, some Jayantilal is requesting to approve the shared content. Should I approve?
No,
Is
no,
requesting.
no.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So last stage is IPO. Everybody knows IPO is in going public. The people will invest in your company. All the investors who have traded their money for equity, they will get a good exit. We have already seen good performing IPOs, bad performing IPOs. There is no specific rule will say that kya IPO successful જ થશે. આ IPO માં we have seen the stories of Nykaa, we have seen the stories of Paytm, we have seen the stories of Zomato still struggling after the initial IPO. So that's a different story. IPO is basically giving an exit to all the angel investors, venture capital, and now they will focus in some other good ideas or other companies where they can get early mover advantage. So these were the 5 stages of startup funding. Now we go ahead with exploring how do we value startups. It is a proven, there have been many brainstorming, many sessions going on કે સ્ટાર્ટઅપમાં આટલું બધું લોસ થાય છે, then why people invest, what are the factors for valuing startup. Now I will take a time here to make you understand this right hand side. This you can see a 2 circle, right? I'll just elaborate more. You can see these 2 circles. One circle says that where the circle is exactly divided equally. It says that 50% of $1 million, which makes $5 lakh, right? Ardo share che 1 million ni company che, so it comes to $5 million. Whereas there is this another circle, different colors represents the different stakeholders. Let's say here on the left hand side I am holding, let's say this is the Myntra nu athyare, for example, valuation che, where on one side when Myntra was 1 million, I was holding 50%, where I was getting 5 lakh million, and this is the another company where 30% valuation che 4 million. Here the valuation was 1 million, here the valuation is 4 million. In the previous case, I was holding 50%, now I'm holding 30%. But what I'm trying to share here is 30% of 4 million is 1.2 million. So it is more than the worth of this company. Jema mara 50% hata. So the challenge lies whether you want the share more or you are looking at the value more. I can hear some noises. I request the participant to please mute themselves. Thank you. So here the challenge is whether you want share more or you want the value more. Of course, the next share is immaterial. Let's say even if I am getting 2% in a big sized company, then it matters more rather than holding 50% of a small company whose value is very less. So this is where the whole startup landscape works. How much share and how much money, right? Next is, what is the key valuation factors for startups? Number one, see, I'll just give you some guidelines where different factors will work for different startups. Of course, there would be some common factors, but there would be other differentiating factors for different startups. For example, if it is a product or service oriented startup, then yes, the customer base is very important. But let's say I just share that I'm doing a valuation of a company who is producing products for defense. So yeah, there the customer is only defense. अगर defense में मेरी product की जरूरत है तो मेरा ये product चलेगा. और defense को अगर ये product की जरूरत नहीं, then I don't have any other customer base. So in that kind of business, customer base will not be a significant key valuation factor. In that case, my technology, my patent, that in that case the valuation will be at a different level. So these are some of the key valuation factors. It may not be possible that every factor would be applicable to every startup. So a strong customer base or network of users, for example कोई cable operator है, तो cable operator के लिए उसका customer base very important है, right? Growth potential, of course, growth potential, this will be applicable for every startup. Why? आई एम नॉट इनफैक्ट स्टार्टअप में कोई हिस्ट्री होती नहीं है. जितने भी स्टार्टअप हमारे पास वैल्यू करने आते, दे आर आइदर 1 year old, they are either 2 year old, or they have just started their journey. So what we are checking it, we are checking the future growth potential of the startups. I'll tell you how do we analyze the future growth potential of it. Making profits, it may be possible. Generally those startups which I value, they are always in losses because they are just 1 year old or 2 year old અને બંને વર્ષમાં નુકસાન જ હોય. So whether they are making profits or not. Next is the value of your brand, patent, or your copyright. See, as I told you, for example, that defense company, the defense company, for that the patent is very important. Everything which goes into that valuation is understanding the business model, understanding the product, and how technology upgraded the product will be, right? So the value of its patent, the value of a brand. For example, 6 months back I did the valuation of an already existing company which was in existence for more than 20 years, and they wanted to share a certain stake to a foreign investors. A foreign investor was already holding a stake and they wanted to give more share to the foreign investor, and that's why the foreign investors had insisted, foreign investors that insisted for the valuation. So in that case, it was a footwear industry, and that footwear industry had, so for example, Metro. I'm not revealing the name of the company, but I'm just comparing it with a Metro or Aero Walk. So Metro has its brand, right? Metro के पास कुछ products ऐसी है. So how do I value Metro brand, right? In fact, उनका major, for example, company 100 rupees की है, so Metro brand can be 50 rupees, 40 rupees, 60 rupees, and the remaining can be the other assets which are there in the company. So what I'm trying to say, the value of your brand is, for example, pharmaceutical company also same things. उनके जितने भी 40 products है, 50 products है. In COVID, we have seen the valuation they have put for the Dolo tablet, the valuation they have put for that injection. So pharmaceutical के लिए उनके product ही उनका brand है. So it may be possible कि 100% business, 100% value of the business में से more than 50% would be belonging to that product, belonging to that brand. So it is very important that you value their brand also. नेक्स्ट इज कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट. यस, कुछ कंपनीज ऐसी होती है जिसमें ह्यूज कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट गोज इनटू. फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने ये डिफेंस वाली बात की, तो उनका एक प्रोडक्ट ही 2 करोड़ रुपए का है. जस्ट इमेजिन. So their size does not matter. It's a very highly capital intensive industry because their each product involves huge amount of R&D. So whether how much capital investment is required at that stage, and also the further stage to maintain it and to grow it. Second is market conditions and competitors. Of course, at every stage, for example, I did a valuation for this vehicles. आपने देखा होगा कि now electronic vehicles are coming, right? So the electronic vehicles का बहुत सारे stages होते हैं. एक उसका manufacturing stage होता है, एक उसका infrastructure होता है for battery. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आज हम मोबाइल लेते हैं तो मोबाइल के साथ ही उसका चार्जर आता है. इट्स नॉट द केस विथ ईवी व्हीकल्स, राइट? वी नीड अ डिफरेंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फॉर ईवी व्हीकल्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपने टाटा मोटर्स की कार ली विच इज एन battery operated car, तो you need also to spend on how to recharge those things. तो उसके लिए जरूरी नहीं है कि आप बैटरी लोगे, because the battery itself is also very costly. So you need that infrastructure. So I did a valuation for this battery infrastructure, a company which gives this infrastructure for battery charging these cars. So the point here I'm trying to make is, it is very, very important who are your competitors, what are the market conditions. For example, for EVs, the government now is very positive for these EVs coming on road. So what are the market, let's say government changes the policies, then the company will be hit like anything. So it is very, very important कि आप कौन से segment में काम कर रहे हो, whether it is market driven, it is policy driven, it is technology driven, right? कई बार ऐसा भी हो जाता है कि मैंने जो प्रोडक्ट डेवलप की वो मार्केट में अभी उसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है. Let's say Nokia is a wonderful example. I started my journey with Nokia phone, but later on Nokia ने कोई development ही नहीं किया, कोई innovation ही नहीं किया, and that's how other market players, same is the thing now. You can see that the Chinese phone Samsung has got a good wonderful photo features. Then there are so many other brands which give you much good qualities of photos as compared to Apple. So it is very, very important to understand कि आप कहाँ पे खड़े हो, who are the people around you who are there in the same business. Is it market driven, is it technology driven, is it capital driven, is it government driven, and accordingly the valuation factor will vary. Okay, so now I discuss a very beautiful case of Myntra. I am sure everybody would have been a customer of Myntra. I am a big fan of Myntra, and believe me, I don't go out only to do shopping. I do every of my shopping from Myntra. Now we'll take this case study of Myntra for 5-10 minutes before we go with the valuation. Now everybody has heard Myntra. It is largest e-commerce store. अभी मिंत्रा की सभी चीज ऑनलाइन ही मिलती है. यू विल नॉट फाइंड एन ऑफलाइन स्टोर. नो डाउट न्यूज में चल रहा है कि वो बैंगलोर में अपना ऑफलाइन स्टोर लेके आने वाले हैं, बट येस, नथिंग मोर tangible coming from that side. So it's basically the largest e-commerce store. It has the highest range of brands and products. Of course, the brands which is there at Myntra आपको कहीं और भी मिलेगी, But some of the brands, some of the labels would be exclusively linked with Myntra, which will not be available or on any other platform. That compulsorily has to be there. For example, Sangria, Anook, they are all brands of Myntra which is not available on any other platform. So the enjoyable shopping experience, they gives a beautiful shopping experience. I will come to it, okay, how they have added good features so that customers don't even dare to move out of Myntra. We'll come to it. In fact, Myntra के पेज में ही अगर आप देखोगे तो no doubt हम लोग कभी ये पेज देखते ही नहीं है. But yes, there is this about page on Myntra which tells about their value proposition. उनके पास कौन से brands है. They have got these recognitions from 2011 to 2013. So everything you will come to know about from the about on the Myntra application. Now let us dig further when it was started, what is the growth story. Let's go to the next slide which talks about the journey of Myntra. It was founded in 2007. There were 3 people who founded it. The founder was Mukesh Bansal. The co-founder was this. They are all from the IIT alumni. Vinit Saxena and Ashutosh was the angel investors who first invested in Myntra. And originally they started as the personalized gifts. Personalized gifts 2007 में बहुत थी. Keychains है, photo frames है, mug है, everything with your name written on it. Right? So they begin with personalized gifts, originally started a personalized platform. Later on, in 2011, see on the left side, the whole Myntra's 10 turning points I have written. 2007 में journey चालू की, 2011 में they converted into the marketplace model. 2014, acquisition by Flipkart. Flipkart purchased Myntra. Where at that time the valuation of Myntra was $300 million. Yes, you heard correctly, it was $300 million. In 2015, it was totally application based. Yes, the Myntra, this is the new symbol of Myntra. Originally, there were some issues with the old, and this is the new symbol of Myntra with 2 colors, orange and pink. So 2015, they went into only application based. 2013, sorry, 2015, the original founders, when the acquisition was made by Flipkart, the original, these 3 founders left, and now the whole control went into the Anand Narayan, who took over as the CEO. 2016, they again moved from application to desktop. 2016, they had this try on delivery. I will come on it. Try on delivery means there are many options on Myntra which says that try and take delivery. Means आप 100 times product घर पे ला सकते हो, उसको try कर सकते हो. There is cash on delivery also option, so that you will get the best fit. And simultaneously, they are also working. I'll come to the try and fit mechanism. Right? I'll come to it. कि आप 2 sizes, 3 sizes मंगा सकते हो. For example, if you had doubt whether M fits me or not, आप XL भी मंगा सकते हो, आप smaller size भी मंगा सकते हो. So I'll come to it. What is that mechanism? 2016, they have acquired Jabong. Jabong was a rivalry there. Jabong was for youngsters and for students जो एकदम fashionable products लेके आते थे, which serves this new millennials with crop tops and this and that things. So they acquired Jabong, who was their nearest competitor, and it will be really fascinating to know that with a small amount of 70 million, their valuation in 2014 was 300, and they acquired Jabong for a mere valuation of 70 million because Jabong was just in the market. And in 2016, the valuation was $1 billion. And in 2016, they crossed the 1 billion, that is the gross merchandise value run rate. And 2016, will take the journey from 2016 ahead in the next slide. They reported 80% annual growth. Now let's look at the journey beyond 2016 के बाद क्या हुआ. This is again the acquisition after Jabong. You can see that the Hrithik Roshan brand, the HRX, Qubit, they have also, in fact, आप न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ोगे तो मिंत्रा ने लास्ट 1.5 साल में 200 ब्रांड्स खरीदी है. 200 brands apart from their private labels. And on the left hand side, you can read the investors up. promoters तो निकल गए, but yes, new every round of funding, new investors तो आते ही रहेंगे. So you can see that these are the investors they have pumped in, and what is the valuation? $15. The total investment done by them is $159 million in this 5 rounds, and now Myntra holds 70% market share. So in fact, Myntra is now a different vertical. Flipkart में ऐसी प्रोडक्ट है जो masses को सर्व करती है. Myntra, it is a niche. It serves professionals with premium fashion. और जॉबों का जो उन्होंने लिया, that takes care of the youngsters and students. So you can see that it is taking care of the people of all ages, the people of all sizes, and that's how their market share has grown to 70%. Now, what are the additional features why they stand out? They have been buying brands, they have certain private labels attached to them. Try and buy feature जो मैंने आपको बताया कि आप 3 sizes मंगाओ, so that this problem of size and fit. और अभी तो ऐसा सिनेरियो है उनका कि इफ लेट्स से आज मेरे पास प्रोडक्ट आई, आज ही मैंने ट्राई की, आई एम नॉट सेटिस्फाइड विथ वॉट एवर, और आज ही मैं रिटर्न करूंगी, तो सो लुक एट देयर सप्लाई चेन. Today only the parcel will be taken from my home. So this is their strong supply chain network, and they are improving it day by day. So you just imagine the customer. First of all, the site is very friendly. आप आराम से shop कर सकते हो. They have this system of Myntra credit. अगर आपको points, अगर आपको पैसे account में नहीं चाहिए, then you can take 100% Myntra points which you can utilize in next purchase. जितना आप परचेज करते हो उसमें आपको पॉइंट्स मिलते हो, पॉइंट्स के सामने आपको क्रेडिट मिलेगा, राइट? सो हैव दिस ब्यूटीफुल एंजॉयबल शॉपिंग एक्सपीरियंस वेयर यू विल लव दिस शॉपिंग. Cash and delivery available. The total strength of Myntra as of now is 1,000 employees. Till now, the total funds which has been ingested in this $400 million. Revenue of last year was almost 2,500 crores, and the current valuation is $1.2 billion as per last year. And the current news is, you have also heard the brand Urbanic, which is of the London. So I'm saying that gradually they are purchasing all their, so backward integration le lo, forward integration le lo, they are trying everything so that they continue to enjoy this market share of 70%. So this was about Myntra. So it was a customer base, and I thought to take this example because everybody can relate to Myntra. Now since I'm a chartered accountant, and there are many startups which has been started by chartered accountants. There is this PSB loans, there is this Naptol. So now I would be discussing about a fintech startup. You must be knowing that nowadays क्या flourish कर रहा है market में, एक fintech के startups flourish. Fintech, by fintech I means फाइनेंस विद टेक्नोलॉजी. फाइनेंशियल, जैसे अपने यूपीआई पेमेंट्स आप देख रहे हो, कितने सारे यूपीआई, दैट इज नथिंग बट अ फिनटेक स्टार्टअप, राइट? सो हियर आई वुड बी डिस्कसिंग अ टिकमार्क करके एक स्टार्टअप है. इट इज जस्ट 1 year old. इट इज, अगर आपने देखा होगा तो स्पिट्स करके एक एप्लीकेशन है on Android as well as on iPhone, Spits, जिसमें हम अपना basically हम अपना हिसाब रखते हैं. Let's say this is very relevant to college students, and that's what the idea was behind taking this tick mark. उसका tagline है करो हिसाब clear. It says that whatever हिसाब you have, दो friend का है, लोन का हिसाब है, फ्रेंडशिप का हिसाब है, ग्रुप पेमेंट का, आप सब हिसाब इधर करो. Now what is that, and how they have come up to this idea? So they say that this is the statistics about interpersonal finance. 75% of the friendships would end over a 5,000 dispute. वही dispute, मैंने ये तारीख पे लिया था, इतना लिया था, मैंने इतना वापस किया था. So there is a struggle with this time and amount. 22% of loans are taken by friends and family. तो of course उसका कोई हिसाब ही नहीं होता, कब दिया था, इंटरेस्ट लेना है नहीं लेना है, XYZ. 94% of the people want a solution for simplifying the group payments and lending, right? So this was the case with interpersonal finance. Of course, the market was very much unorganized because 77 people do not track their expenses. 58% people face problems in getting their money back because वही struggle, कब दिया था, कितना दिया था, and 99% people end up paying more than what they used to get, what they used to use according to the normal they used to pay. Normal अगर हिसाब करते हैं तो 100 रुपए देना है, but 91% of the people say that we end up paying more because हिसाब ही नहीं है तो कैसे prove कर पाओगे, right? So this is the tick mark. You can see the application. You can see this Rushabh Shah is a chartered accountant who has founded this. The easiest way to settle, यहाँ पे आपको क्या करना है, टिक मार्क एप्लीकेशन डाउनलोड करनी है. जितने भी आपने पैसे स्पेंड किए, जस्ट राइट देयर जिसके साथ आपने पैसे स्पेंड किए. फॉर एग्जांपल आई हैव मैंने फॉर एग्जांपल हितेश सर के साथ लेट्स से मैंने 1000 रुपीज का ट्रांजैक्शन किया, तो सीधा मैं टिक मार्क में जाके 1000 रुपीज एंटर करूंगी. अगर हितेश सर के पास ये टिक मार्क है तो हितेश सर विल ऑटोमेटिकली गेट द डेबिट एंड क्रेडिट अकॉर्डिंगली कि भाई 1000 रुपीज मैडम को देने हैं. सो एंड टिक मार्क विल ऑल्सो मेक यू रिमेम्बर द आउटस्टैंडिंग, कितना आउटस्टैंडिंग कैसे, तो पूरा हिसाब किताब इसमें क्लियर हो जाता है. I'll see. This is the split, remind, settled. सेटल हो जाने के बाद भी अब सो इट इज वेरी इजी. अपने दो फ्रेंड्स है, अपने 500 का हिसाब है, 1000 का हाउस होल्ड एक्सपेंसेस है, लेना देना सबके साथ, तो इट इज वेरी इजी. यू जस्ट एंटर और उसको भी आपको हिसाब देने की जरूरत नहीं, ऑटोमेटिकली उसकी साइट पे आ जाएगा, राइट? इक्वल करना है, आधा करना है, वॉट एवर इज द परसेंटेज इट विल रिमाइंड यू. एंड ऑल्सो when you settled it, it will say that you have to say that yes, it is settled and no more reminders I want. So this is a fintech application. Another application by a chartered accountant is getting loans in just 20 minutes. It is called PSB Loans, onlineloans.com. 20 minutes में आपको लोन मिल जाएगी. So that is again a fintech startup by chartered accountant. Now we'll come with the last thing, that is the startup valuation. But before I go to startup valuation, let's understand this normal understanding which people have is why startups making losses, why they still get investment, right? You can see अगर ये सब की आप balance sheet देखोगे, Zomato, Oyo, Paytm, Ola, these are all startups, Swiggy, so they are all making losses. But when it comes to their valuation, yes, at every round of investment they get huge amount of money. So why? Well, let us understand why they have least profit and why their valuation is so high. One standard answer for this is the growth potential. It's basically investor कहाँ पैसे लगाते, it is the growth story, right? जो for example ऋषभ शाह जो टिकमक का founder है, how good the promoter is, how passionate he or she is about the idea. So जो इसकी एक growth story है, अगर वो growth story sellable है, right, उसका vision sellable है, then investors don't look at immediate profit. They are not concerned with the profit. हाँ, उनका एक ही है कि इसमें potential है, ये future में कमा के देगा, इसमें वो spark है. So basically it is the long term vision rather than the immediate or expected profit generation. Profit is immaterial for them. It is the good growth story. They get inspired by founders and their pitch. I'm just giving a two contrast example. Let's say a grow आपने सुना होगा बहुत सारे क्रिकेट में उसका एडवर्ट. It's an investing platform. उसका प्रॉफिट बहुत ही कम है, but the last funding round which happened last year skyrocketed their valuation to USD 3 billion. Vis-a-vis a Zerodha company, or everyone, those who are in stock market and they don't want any broker intervention and enjoy the trading experience, Zerodha, which is founded by Mr. Nitin Kamath, it's a highly profitable venture, but uska valuation is still lower than Grow. So this is the contrast example I am showing कि जरूरी नहीं है कि बैलेंस शीट अच्छी हो और मेरा वैल्यू भी अच्छा हो. It can be vice versa. Zerodha has wonderful valuations, but the valuation is lower than Grow, and Grow profit बहुत ही least है, but the valuation is growing. Then that explanation is when we go through valuation, it's the DCF method, which is the discounted cash flow method, which is used to value startups, will give you an answer for this. कि ये DCF method में ये क्या आता है कि ऐसे contrast examples आपको आते हैं. So we will come to it. Other examples, why investors get attracted to invest in loss-making startups. I already shared the future growth promise. That is the first fundamental क्वेश्चन फॉर इन्वेस्टर्स. वो बिजनेस मॉडल स्टडी करते हैं. अगर आपके आपके बिजनेस में प्रॉफिट, जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस टू देम इज जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड द सिनेरियो. म्यूचुअल फंड्स, द इन्वेस्टमेंट रेवेन्यूज, द म्यूचुअल फंड्स और सेविंग्स में से उनको 20% 30% रिटर्न्स मिलेंगे. बट व्हाट इफ दे वांट 100% रिटर्न, 300% रिटर्न? आपने देखा है 700% भी रिटर्न मिलते हैं. सो फॉर देम स्टार्टअप इज द ओनली ऑल्टरनेटिव. So they will look at the growth, they will look at the scalability instead of immediate profit. And that answer comes whether the idea has the future growth potential or not. Market kahan ja raha hai. Next is recovery money. Generally investors ka kya hota hai, they have invested in, let's say they have invested in 10 funds, or they have invested in 10 ideas. Now all those 10 ideas will not give you a return. उसमें से 10 में से 2 में wonderful returns मिलेंगे, 1 में मिलेंगे. So they invest कि उनका लॉस भी इनसे कवर हो जाए. शायद ये ग्रो हो गया तो मेरे सब लॉसेस जो बाकी के स्टार्टअप में से नहीं आए वो रिकवर हो जाएंगे. Next is the vision and mission. As I said that they look at the founders, the passion, the idea of the founders, the passion of the founders. So क्या है vision और mission companies का? For example, अगर मतलब these are the things which is now going on. Fintech companies, EV companies, chip. The Prime Minister has already said that make in India, Chinese product mat kharido. So everybody in this is in race of manufacturing in India, whether it is manufacturing the chip for laptops, whether it is manufacturing the chip for batteries, whether it is the battery manufacturing. So you must understand how the global scenario is, how the Indian scenario is. As an investors, as a valuer, हम सब देखते हैं कि ग्लोबल में इसका पोटेंशियल कितना है, ये इंडस्ट्री का शेयर कितना है, फिर ये कंपनी का शेयर कितना है. सो वी डू दिस fundamental analysis in 3 ways: the global scenario, the Indian scenario, and lastly the industry analysis. And then where is my company standing, what is the gap I am trying to cover, what is the market share I am trying to cover. Next is the brand value. You must have question कि भाई जोमेटो में अभी जोमेटो का प्रॉफिट ही नहीं बन रहा तो भी लोग इसमें क्यों पैसे डाल रहे. सिमिलरली द पेटीएम. सो द ब्रांड ऑलवेज हैज इट्स वैल्यू, राइट. मेरे पास ऐसी कंपनीज भी आती है जो कंपनी बंद हो गई हो, कंपनी में अभी कुछ भी नहीं हो, बट वो पुरानी ब्रांड इज देयर स्टिल इन द माइंड ऑफ द कंज्यूमर्स. तो वो ब्रांड का कोई पैसा निकलेगा. यस. तो जोमेटो, पेटीएम, स्विगी has a huge brand value and they are speculating, trading on these brands only. Next is exiting with profit. Yes, they will speculate on opportunities. कहीं कोई big deal आ गई, कहीं कोई उसको खरीददार मिल गया तो हमें इजीली इसमें से ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ मनी से हम एग्जिट करेंगे. सो इट इज राइटली सेड बाय दोज पीपल हु ट्रेड इन वैल्यूएशन एंड द स्टॉक मार्केट एक्सपर्ट्स. फॉर एग्जांपल स्टॉक मार्केट में अभी सब बोल रहे हैं कि इंडिया का, since you have seen that last from 15th July the market has been in upwards, वो गिरा ही नहीं है. The journey from 16,000 से लेके निफ्टी टचिंग 18,000. So everybody says that the Indian markets are now overvalued. Indian markets में अभी stocks बहुत बढ़ गए. For example, ICICI Bank, it has moved more than 40-50. मतलब जो उसने हिस्ट्री में it is trading at 52 week high और उससे भी ज्यादा. So the point is valuation is not a reflection of the earning. ICICI Bank ने ये साल ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं किया, right, as compared to last years, but it is the reflection of future potential earning. So anytime जब भी आपको अभी कोई पूछे कि valuation इसका high क्यों है, you always reply and remember this beautiful line: it is not the reflection of the earning, it is not the history, it is just the reflection of the future potential earning. कि इसमें से मैं कितना इसका future potential है, and that's why people are investing now. Next, the same thing, how do investors value? Much of the things we have discuss, so I will not take much time here. Business model मैंने आपको बता दिया कि हम business model देखते हैं, articles पढ़ते हैं, research करते हैं कि globally क्या रेट, ग्लोबल सिनेरियो क्या है, इंडिया में इसका सिनेरियो क्या है, इसके कॉम्पिटिटर्स कितने हैं, इसका करंट कस्टमर का बेस कितना है, कितना रेट से, फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने वो डिफेंस वाला बताया 2 करोड़ की उसकी प्रोडक्ट, आई एम नॉट लुकिंग एट द कस्टमर बेस, मेरे लिए तो इम्पोर्टेंट यही है कि उसका प्रोडक्ट रेलेवेंट होना चाहिए डिफेंस में, और उसकी रेलेवेंसी तब रहेगी जब वो R&D में पैसा लगाता ही जाएगा, क्योंकि उसका प्रोडक्ट रेलेवेंट कस्टमर तो मेरा एक ही है डिफेंस, और कोई नया कस्टमर तो आने नहीं वाला। अगर डिफेंस में इसकी डिमांड है तो ये प्रोडक्ट जाएगा। सो इन दैट केस आई एम नॉट कंसर्न विद द करंट बेस, और उसमें कोई प्रोडक्ट कस्टमर्स का बेस भी नहीं बढ़ने वाला, प्रोडक्ट में कितना पोटेंशियल है, राइट। सिमिलरली मार्केटिंग स्पेंड, यू वुड हैव सीन दैट फॉर एग्जांपल जोमेटो का एक साल का मार्केटिंग एक्सपेंडिचर ही 4 से 5 करोड़ है। सो वेदर आई एम गेटिंग इनफ रिटर्न ऑन व्हाट आई हैव स्पेंड, राइट। आप देख रहे हो जोमेटो और स्विगी की कितनी एडवर्टाइजमेंट, इनफैक्ट अगर हम जोमेटो से कुछ खरीदा भी है तो आप मतलब यंगस्टर्स कैन वेरी मच रिलेट कि वो आपको बार बार रिमाइंड करेगा कि आपने ये खाया नहीं है, कितने टाइम से आपने ऑर्डर नहीं दिया। सो दीज आर द मार्केटिंग स्ट्रेटेजीज। नेक्स्ट इज बिजनेस मैनेजमेंट एंड मूड इज कितने फाउंडर्स कितने एफिशिएंट है, कितने सूटेबल है, कितने सस्टेनेबल है, वो आगे जाके डाइल्यूट अपना स्टेक करेंगे या नहीं, या वही पुराने वे से मैनेज करेंगे या नहीं। सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो द विजन एंड मिशन ऑफ द बिजनेस मैनेजमेंट एज वेल। फॉर एग्जांपल स्टॉक मार्केट में हम ऐसे बोलते हैं लेट्स से अदानी स्टॉक्स आर फ्लरिशिंग नाउ, but are they reliable? Will they be, or it's just a speculation? Vis-a-vis Tata shares, they are always stable, right? So you from the management of the company will also get an idea कि उनकी management strategies क्या है। Just I have tried to find out what are the issues why startups fail and incur losses. Huge manage talent cost, employees को रखना पड़ता है, marketing cost, acquiring technical component tools, जैसे मैंने बताया Myntra is day by day strengthening its supply chain, because उनका तो customer ने order दिया, but order देने के बाद कितने दिन के बाद प्रोडक्ट आता है, और वो प्रोडक्ट, और वो लोग ये भी करते हैं कि रिटर्न देते हैं, 30 डेज का रिटर्न पॉलिसी देते हैं। सो जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड देयर फाइनेंशियल साइकिल। आज मैंने ऑर्डर दिया, दे विल ट्राई टू डिलीवर मी द प्रोडक्ट एज सुन एज पॉसिबल, और फिर डिलीवर करने के बाद उसके अंदर एक ऑप्शन आता है कि अगर आप कंफर्म करते हो प्रोडक्ट तो आपको पॉइंट्स मिलेंगे, अगर आपने एक्सचेंज किया तो आपके वो पॉइंट गए। सो वंस आई कंफर्म यानी वो सेल हो गया, वो 100% प्रूफ हो गया कि ये मेरा सेल हो गया। अगर मैंने कंफर्म नहीं किया देन आई गो टू एक्सचेंज, अगेन एक्सचेंज में वो लोग दिखेंगे कितने दिन में एक्सचेंज का टाइम कम कर पाओ। अगर जल्दी मैंने एक्सचेंज कर दिया तो उसको रिफंड मिला, अगर उसको रिफंड जल्दी मिलेगा तो फिर दूसरा शॉपिंग करेंगे। सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट हाउ टेक्निकली यू आर ऑटोमेटिंग एंड स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग योर प्रोसेस, नॉट टारगेटिंग कस्टमर्स नीड। अगर मिंत्रा फैशनेबल प्रोडक्ट्स नहीं लाएगा तो कोई उससे खरीदेगा नहीं, अगर क्वालिटी उसकी अच्छी होगी। सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि योर कस्टमर नीड्स है। फॉर एग्जांपल प्लास्टिक गुड्स, दोज हु आर देयर इन द इंडस्ट्री दे आर नॉट, मतलब प्लास्टिक इज बैंड, गवर्नमेंट हैज बैंड प्लास्टिक, सो देयर इज नो, सो नाउ अदर मैन्युफैक्चरर्स जो बनाना से बनाते और अदर मटेरियल which can be used as disposable instead of plastic can take this as an advantage। An issue in business model, अगर आप सालों साल नुकसान करोगे तो yes there is some wrong in your business model, you need to find it out what is wrong in your business model। I've also taken this from internet, a survey which was taken to identify top reasons for startup fail, and you can say that more than 40% belongs your product has become obsolete, there is no need of that product। So it is very, there are so many examples in this category जो आपको बता सकता है कि अगर आपने इनोवेशन नहीं किया, आपने अगर R&D नहीं किया, you have stopped developing or incurring your research and development, then with the competition your product will be out of date। The remaining are, you can see that the management, बाकी के प्रोडक्ट है, मैनेजमेंट के इश्यूज है, कैश नहीं है, राइट टीम नहीं है, प्रोडक्ट इश्यूज है, कॉस्ट इश्यूज है, right? So these are some of the reasons. Now I'll just straight away will take another 5-10 minutes to tell you how startups are valued. Just these are some of the examples, these are some of the methods on which the startups are valued। But before going to the DCF method, we must understand कि valuation कौन से approaches से होता है। There are three approaches to valuation. First, we have to look at the approach and then we decide the method. Asset based हो सकता है, earning based हो सकता है, market value based. Asset based यानी there are certain, I'll just go through all the approaches. Market based approach आपको पता ही है, market based यानी market से हम data लाते हैं. For example, let's say yesterday आपने news सुना that Adani is going to buy NDTV share. So you must understand the whole telecom sector. You must need to understand the how the newsprint and how the media industries work. किसका क्या share? For example, HD media का इतना share है. For example, who are the other players, तो सबका आपको शेयर करना. तो अगर मार्केट बेस्ड अप्रोच से अगर मेरे पास कोई वैल्यूएशन आया उसका, फॉर एग्जांपल रिलायंस बाइंग एनडीटीवी, तो वो जब वैल्यूएशन हम करेंगे तो हम देखेंगे कि पास्ट में कौन से वैल्यूएशंस हुए. फॉर एग्जांपल एचडी मीडिया इज मैनेज्ड बाय द ग्रुप, तो उन्होंने ये कैसे खरीदा था, गोनिका ग्रुप ने कौन से ईयर में कौन से प्राइसेस. सो वी विल लुक एट the market, the same market. Of course there no market deal will be the same, but yes you will get an idea कि कौन से price से वो transaction हुआ. Generally for new startups कोई मिलता ही नहीं है तो हम market based approach use because they are just new in the market. This is possible only for the existing players कि उनको कोई market data मिले. नए players का data तो हमें मिल ही नहीं सकता. Next is, for example, in last 1 month, I did a valuation for female cricket. जैसे वो मिथिली राज का मूवी आया and the craze for female cricket, and I just did a valuation of female. तो उसमें तो मुझे कोई data ही नहीं मिलेगा. First mover advantage ही है तो मैं कहाँ से, तो market based approach is not possible. Next is the income based approach. Very simple, हम income को देख के हम उसका valuation करते हैं. उसमें भी different methods है. Capitalization method, discounting method. Discounting is, this is what I talk about, the discounted cash flow method. हम let's say for example वो डिफेंस वाले का मैं अभी वैल्यूएशन कर रही हूँ, तो आई हैव टेकन 6 years फ्रेम के एज ऑन टुडे से लेके 6 साल तक कि उसका बिजनेस इनकम स्ट्रीम आई विल फाइंड आउट. फिर वो स्ट्रीम में से उसका रिस्क, उसका इनकम, उसका प्रोजेक्शंस बनेगा. And then by using appropriate variables I will be finding out the business value. So this is the income approach where I take the income method into consideration. Next is lastly the asset based approach, जहाँ पे आप asset में जो इन्वेस्टमेंट आपने किया है उसको ध्यान में रख के एसेट बेस्ड अप्रोच. एसेट बेस्ड अप्रोच यानी फॉर एग्जांपल कोई कैपिटल इंटेंसिव इंडस्ट्रीज है जिसमें वो एसेट को बनाना ही इटसेल्फ ही बहुत बड़ी चीज है, तो हम एसेट बेस्ड अप्रोच में जाते हैं बिकॉज उसकी हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट से हमको पता चलेगा कि अभी उसको हम बना सकते हैं या नहीं. सो इट इज बेसिकली considering the historical cost. So that is the asset based approach. So there are three approach, either आप income से जाओ, आप asset से जाओ, या आप market से जाओ. मैंने बताया market में listed companies का data can be used. Income based is generally used for startups. Asset based approach में technology companies है. License, because let's say pharmaceutical company has a huge entry barrier क्योंकि उनको license लेना पड़ता है. तो in that cases for license we go for asset based approach. So now we discussed last thing, startup में discounted cash flow method. Now what is this discounted cash flow method? Simple, we forecast everything. What do we forecast? पहले income, expenses. Let's say कोई भी business का 5 years या 10 years का मुझे plan देना है, business plan. कौन से रेट से मेरी इनकम ग्रो होगी, कौन से रेट से मेरा एक्सपेंसेस ग्रो होगा, कितना मेरा कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर होगा, कितना बाहर से पैसा आएगा, कितना मुझे रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर होगा, कितना मुझे R&D करना पड़ेगा. सो जनरली देन वी कम टू वी अराइव्ड एट कि बिजनेस में रिस्क कितना है. अगेन we have our own assumptions. अगर higher risk है तो हम higher risk, everybody knows with higher discounting rate the value goes down, with lower discount rate the value goes high. So we try to incorporate our liquidity risk है, market risk है, price risk है. Depending upon the risk we come to higher risk with higher discount rates. So basically जो prospects है वो प्रोस्पेक्ट्स एप्रोप्रिएट नंबर्स में दिखते हैं या नहीं. फॉर एग्जांपल 5 करोड़ इन्वेस्टमेंट करके मैं 42 करोड़ कैसे कमा पाऊंगी. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस वी आस्क्ड. As of now, Flipkart is the highest value company in India with a valuation of 30.6 billion USD. And out of 100 Indian unicorn, there are only 23 which are profitable. which includes this Mamaearth, which is in cosmetic, Lenskart, Nykaa, everybody knows the growth story. Zeroda, everybody knows the growth story. So this is how the startup valuation takes place. We use the discounted cash flow method. I'm not going further into the challenges in business valuation since you all are not business valuers. This kind of the information which I've shared is up till now is relevant for you, and and then the session now, the floor is open for all the participants to ask. I can use the chat box if you have any other questions or any questions related to the presentation. The floor is open.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for these valuable insights. Now, I would like to request participants that if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat box, or else you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Ma'am, I have one question that
Yeah, please.
is there any relation between the net worth and the valuation of any company?
Okay, this is the difference between historical and new data. નેટવર્થ આપણી ક્યારે હોય? નેટવર્થ બનાયેલી હોય એ હિસ્ટોરિકલ ડેટા છે. ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ એઝ ઓન ટુડે મારી નેટવર્થ કેટલું છે? તો મેં નેટવર્થ ઇઝ બેઝિકલી માય ઓલ એસેટ્સ. અગર કંપનીનું હોય નેટવર્ક યા ઇન્ડિવિજ્યુઅલનું નેટવર્થ હોય, ઇટ ઇઝ ઓલ એસેટ્સ માઇનસ લાયબિલિટીઝ, રાઈટ? વેરેઝ ધી નેટવર્થ વિલ જસ્ટ ગીવ મી એન આઈડિયા કે આટલા પાસ્ટ વર્ષોમાં, ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ મેં તમને કીધું કે મેં એક ફૂટવેર કંપનીનું valuation કર્યું હતું which was 25 years old, so of course they would have made the net worth, correct? But historically, if they are going for any acquisition or they are diluting their stake, I need to take into the future potential, the future અહીંયાથી company ક્યાં જવાની છે. Of course they have earned good money, they have this production capacity, etc. But આગળ જવા માટે what is the future growth potential they are expecting? So net worth is already earned. Future growth potential you will earn જ્યારે એ valuation પર પહોંચશે ત્યારે. I hope that suffice your question.
Yes, ma'am. There is one another question in the chat box. It is which person is hired for this topic for our company? Can you please unmute yourself, Rupesh Singala, and if you can ask. Like CA, yes, I think CA can do valuation of a startup or for your company.
Yeah.
Yes, Dharmaraj bhai, you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
See, I tell you, I think he's not able to unmute. Fine, that's fine. I tell you what is the landscape of valuation. मैंने पहले भी बताया था कि अभी 3 टाइप के एसेट ही है जिसमें वैल्यूएशन हो सकता है. प्लांट. हेलो.
हाँ मैडम, मैं क्वेश्चन पूछ सकता हूँ क्या?
यस प्लीज धर्मराज जी बताइए.
मैडम बहुत बढ़िया स्लाइड थी, मुझे यही टॉपिक चाहिए था और आज ना आपने ले लिया.
अच्छा, थैंक यू सो मच.
मैडम मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि वैल्यूएशन में जब भी कोई आईटी कंपनी होती है, फॉर एग्जांपल ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म वाली होती है, जैसे अभी आपने मिंत्रा के डिस्क्राइब किया, उसमें जो कंपनी ओनर होता है वो हमेशा कभी कभी ऐसा बोलता है कि मुझे वैल्यूएशन मेरे रेवेन्यूज पे करनी है. लेकिन जब हम उसको पूछते हैं कि भाई तुम्हारा प्रॉफिट क्या है, तो आईटी में प्रॉफिट बहुत लो होता है इनिशियल फेज में.
करेक्ट, एब्सोल्युटली राइट.
ई कॉमर्स
करेक्ट.
5% होता है या कभी कभी 7% होता है, लेकिन उसका पोटेंशियल बहुत ज्यादा होता है. तो इसमें आपने 2-3 मेथड्स की है, उसमें तो आईटी का मैंने हमारे एरिया में भी बहुत लोगों को पूछा, लेकिन जब भी हम पूछते हैं तो मैं उस कंपनी को बाय करना चाह रहा हूँ स्टेक, तो आई विल ऑलवेज कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन प्रॉफिट मार्जिन. व्हाई शुड आई थिंक अबाउट रेवेन्यूज? तो वो उस फेज में क्या होना चाहिए? क्योंकि कई लोग ऐसा बोलते हैं कि हम दूसरी कंपनी के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं उसकी वैल्यू. तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि अगर वो कंपनी है ही नहीं कोई, सपोज उस टाइप के आईटी बिजनेस में, तो इनिशियल वैल्यूएशन कैसे होता है? अभी तो क्या हमारे पास कंपैरिजन करने के लिए 2-3 कंपनीज है. सपोज मैं कोई ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म रखूं तो लोग बोलेंगे भाई मिंत्रा के साथ कंपेयर करो, ग्लो रोड के साथ कंपेयर करो, गम रोड के साथ कंपेयर करो. लेकिन मेरा ऐसा पूछना है कि इनिशियल अगर कुछ है ही नहीं, तो ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म में मुझे कंपैरिजन किसके ऊपर करना चाहिए? बीइंग एन इन्वेस्टर, सपोज आई वांट टू buy a stake in some company.
Correct. See, टेक्नोलॉजी में आपने परफेक्ट बताया कि इनिशियल इयर्स में तो लॉसेस ही होते, देयर आर नो स्कोप ऑफ प्रॉफिट. नंबर 2, जब मेरे पास कोई हिस्ट्री नहीं है तो आइदर आई कैन यूज एसेट अप्रोच. आप अपने तीनों अप्रोच से जाइए फंडामेंटली. एक इनकम अप्रोच है, एक एसेट अप्रोच है और एक अर्निंग अप्रोच है. तो एसेट तो मेरी बनी ही नहीं है, एसेट अप्रोच तो मैं फॉलो ही नहीं कर सकती, तो वो मेथड चली गई. आपने बताया कि मार्केट नहीं है, बराबर. सो दैट्स व्हाई स्टार्टअप के लिए व्हाई पीपल यूज डीसीएफ इज दिस रीजन ओनली कि बाकी के दो अप्रोच तो मैं फॉलो ही नहीं कर पाती. एसेट बनी नहीं है तो एसेट बेस्ड नहीं जा सकती. इसकी मार्केट कंपनी मुझे नहीं मिल सकती बिकॉज कोई ट्रांजैक्शंस पैरेलल नहीं होगा, कोई कंपनी की साइज सेम नहीं होगी. सो कंपल्सरीली वी हैव टू यूज डीसीएफ. देयर इज नो अदर ऑल्टरनेटिव. ये कंपनी भी आपको डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड से ही वैल्यू करनी पड़ेगी, whereby I am trying to find out the value as on today on the basis of the future growth potential of the company.
ओके. जैसा आपने बोला कि फ्यूचर पोटेंशियल है, वो अगर आपको अच्छा लगता है तो आप उस हिसाब से इन्वेस्ट करो, क्योंकि जिसको स्टेक सेल करना है वो तो फ्यूचर की ही बात करेगा. लेकिन जिसको स्टेक बाय करना
पड़ेगा, इन्वेस्टर को एक वैल्यूएशन करना पड़ेगा. रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर जो है, इसके रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर जिसको हम आरवीज बोलते हैं, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स कैन बी आरवीज, बट उसके लिए अलग एग्जाम देना पड़ता है. एवरी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट कैन नॉट बी अ रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर. वी हैव दिस डिफरेंट एग्जाम व्हिच इज टेकन बाय आईबीबीआई, जो मैंने क्लियर की है. तो वो रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर के पास आपको वैल्यूएशन करना पड़ेगा, वो आपको एक सर्टिफिकेट देगा. एंड यू एज अ मैनेजमेंट, अगर आप इन्वेस्टर हो तो मैनेजमेंट को बोलने का कि आप इसका वैल्यूएशन करके मेरे पास आइए.
ओके.
तो देन दैट वैल्यूएशन रिपोर्ट विल हैव एवरीथिंग कि कौन से बेसिस पे वैल्यू, सपोज 40 करोड़ उसकी वैल्यू आई है तो वो 40 करोड़ कौन से बेसिस पे आई.
ओके. वही इश्यू होता है. मैं सपोज उनके चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट ने वैल्यूअर कोई रखा हो तो उन्होंने सपोज 40 CR की वैल्यूएशन की.
करेक्ट.
और मेरे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट ने सपोज 30 CR का किया, तो ऐसे में भी हमको बार्गेनिंग करना पड़ेगा ना बिटवीन 40 और 40.
See, valuation is always, धर्मराज, an estimate. 30 करोड़ या 40 करोड़ पे ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं होने वाला, बट तुम्हें इतना तो पता चला ना. सी, द वेरिएंस बिटवीन दिस टू वैल्यूएशन इज 30 and 40. फिर उसमें आपको प्रोजेक्शंस देखना पड़ेगा. लेट्स से मैंने 40 करोड़ के लिए मेरे प्रोजेक्शंस हाई लिए हैं, बट 40 करोड़ के लिए आपने टर्नओवर लेट्स से 200 करोड़ लिया है, बट ये 30 करोड़ के लिए टर्नओवर सीधा उसने 100 करोड़ लिया, तो उसके ऊपर भी तो डिपेंड करता है ना. बट एटलीस्ट आपको एक आइडिया आ गया कि यस, ये 2 करोड़ की कंपनी तो नहीं है, ये 5 करोड़ की तो कंपनी नहीं है. एक आइडिया, एक रेंज आपको मिली ना. फिर आप बैठोगे टेबल पे, फिर वो नेगोशिएशन होगा 30 करोड़ से लेके 40 करोड़ में, एंड बोथ ऑफ यू माइट अराइव एट 35 करोड़. So you get a range. It's just an estimate, a range to begin with. Yes.
जो वैल्यूएशन की फीस जो होती है, आपने बोला कि वैल्यूअर रजिस्टर वैल्यूअर से करवाना होता है, तो उसकी फीस फिर इन्वेस्टर पे करते हैं या जो कंपनी होती है वो करवाते हैं?
डिपेंड्स कौन आपको अप्रोच करता है. हमको इन्वेस्टर्स भी अप्रोच करते हैं, हमको फाउंडर्स भी अप्रोच करते हैं. तो डिपेंड्स कौन अप्रोच करता है. सबकी फीस अलग अलग होती है. फॉर एग्जांपल, कई बार एक रिपोर्ट हमें सब अलग अलग एक्ट में देने होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, कंपनीज एक्ट में रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर का रिपोर्ट लगता है, फेमा में सीए का सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए. तो कई बार मैं वही प्रोजेक्शंस में रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर का भी सर्टिफिकेट देती हूँ, और अगर कोई फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स आता है तो वो फेमा के हिसाब से भी वैल्यूएशन करती हूँ. और फाउंडर्स और इन्वेस्टर्स जनरली दो साथ नहीं आते, राइट. फाउंडर कहीं और कराएगा, इन्वेस्टर, वो दोनों हमारे पास एक जन दोनों नहीं आएंगे, तो हम दोनों तरफ से वैल्यूएशन करते हैं. बट बिलीव मी, फाउंडर आए या इन्वेस्टर आए, प्रोजेक्शंस आर गोइंग टू रिमेन सेम. अगर दोनों प्रोजेक्शन सेम है तो हम लोग मैनिपुलेट नहीं करने वाले कि चलो भाई इन्वेस्टर आया तो वैल्यू कम करो, फाउंडर आया है तो वैल्यू ज्यादा करो. ऑलवेज इट इज ऑलवेज बेस्ड ऑन ग्रोथ पोटेंशियल. तुम्हारे स्टार्टअप में कोई ग्रोथ है, तुम्हारे स्टार्टअप में कोई स्टोरी है, तुम्हारे स्टार्टअप में कोई दम है. આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ કે દમ છે આમાં, પછી જ આગળ વાત થાય.
એક્ઝેક્ટલી એવો જ ઇશ્યુ થાય છે. અને ખાસ કરીને આઈટી ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીમાં એટલા માટે થાય છે કારણ કે ફિક્સ એસેટ્સ નથી હોતા. એ લોકો પાસે ટેલેન્ટ જ હોય છે અને ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર પણ મેક્સિમમ રેન્ટલ હોય છે. તો ઇટ બીકમ્સ વેરી ડિફિકલ્ટ ટુ
એટલે
to
એના
find out.
માટે તમારે ડ્યુ ડિલિજન્સ કરવું બહુ જ જરૂરી છે કે આ કઈ ગેપ ને મેં તમને ના કીધું કઈ ગેપ કઈ માર્કેટ નીડ ને ફોલો કરે છે આ માર્કેટ નીડ ક્યાં સુધી રહેશે ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ ઈવી વેહિકલ્સ આયા તો હવે ઈવી વેહિકલ્સ થી આપણે પેટ્રોલ કે ફ્યુલમાં નથી જ જવાના એ નક્કી છે
હા બરાબર છે
એટલે તમારે એ સોફ્ટવેર કઈ નીડ ને આઈડેન્ટિફાય કરે છે કઈ નીડ ને એ નીડ કાલે રહેવાની છે નથી રહેવાની એમાં શું ડેવલપમેન્ટ શું બેઝિકલી ઇટ ઇઝ તમારે અમે લોકો તો ફાઉન્ડર્સ જોડે લિટરલી એમનું ગ્રિલિંગ કરીએ અમે વેલ્યુએશન કરતા તો ઇટ ઇઝ હાર્ડલી 2 અવર્સ 3 અવર્સ બીકોઝ એ નંબર ગેમ છે પણ એનાથી વધારે ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ ઇઝ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ ધેર બિઝનેસ મોડેલ જો બિઝનેસ મોડેલ એના રિસ્ક એનાથી અમને રિસ્ક એપિટાઇટ બી ખબર પડે એટલે that is where the crux lies
True, very much. Thanks very much. કારણ કે આ ઇશ્યુઝ બહુ બધે લાગુ પડશે આઈટી ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીઝમાં and we are facing these problems since last 2 or 3 months because we are not getting દરેક ચાર્ટર્ડ એકાઉન્ટન્ટ્સના પોતાના માઇન્ડસેટ હોય જેમ તમે કીધું ને કે રજિસ્ટર્ડ કોઈ વેલ્યુઅર હોય એ રાખવો સારું અને ઇટ ઇઝ ગુડ કે તમે છો એટલે ફાયદો મળી જશે બધાને
yes sure
thanks very much
anytime thank you
very much ma'am.
Yeah,
thank you. I have shared my email ID in the chat box.
Okay. One of the last question I would like to have to you. What? Yes.
Yeah.
Am I audible, ma'am? Yeah, Parth.
Yes.
What are the things a startup should keep in mind to have a good valuation? Means from the beginning or when they are going for valuation of their venture, what the things they should keep in mind for a better valuation?
They should be clear with their vision and mission. Vision નથી હોતું તમે અત્યારે ચાલુ કર્યું સ્ટાર્ટઅપ see how startup is different from a normal entrepreneur સ્ટાર્ટઅપમાં એક પેશન હોવું જોઈએ એક વિઝન તમારી પાસે આગળના 10 થી 20 વર્ષનો આઈડિયા હોવો જોઈએ ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ મેં એક હૈદરાબાદમાં એક આપણી આ બિગ બાસ્કેટની કોમ્પિટિટર જોડે મેં બિગ બાસ્કેટનો જ કોમ્પિટિટર એનું મેં વેલ્યુએશન કર્યું હતું તો એનું મોડલ અને બિગ બાસ્કેટનું મોડલ કેટલું ડિફરન્ટ છે બિગ બાસ્કેટ જે વસ્તુ સેટિસ્ફાય નથી કરતો એ સેટિસ્ફાય કરી શકે છે આગળ એક કેટલું સ્કેલેબિલિટી આમાં થઈ શકે સો એ જવાબ યુ આર નોટ થિંકિંગ ઓફ કરંટ સ્ટેજ ફ્યુચર જેટલું તમારું ક્લિયર હશે કે ભાઈ ફર્સ્ટ સ્ટેજ મારો આ સેકન્ડ સ્ટેજ મારો આ થર્ડ સ્ટેજ મારો આ આટલા સ્ટેજ છે હું આવી રીતે સ્કેલ અપ કરીશ એ તમારું ક્લેરિટી હોય બીકોઝ ઇન્વેસ્ટર્સ તમારી ગ્રોથ સ્ટોરી જ રીડ કરવાનું છે એને તમારા કરંટ ફિગર જોડે કોઈ જ લેવા દેવા નથી if you have very clear line of action include everything whatever you are doing in terms of technology bhi tamara business na key valuation factors jo any clarity ene hoy to I think there should not be any problem
Okay, that's very insightful, ma'am. Someone is asking that is it possible that you will be sharing the presentation?
Yes, no issues. I'll share the presentation. Absolutely fine.
Okay. And one more thing, I would like to mention to all of you that this session was being recorded and it would be put on our YouTube channel of SUSEC Rajkot. So anyone, if you are interested, you can view or you can also share it to your others if you are interested, right? We thank you, ma'am. On behalf of Saurashtra University and SU Startup and Entrepreneurship Council, it was a very delightful session that how the startups can get valued. What are the things they need to keep in mind for the startup valuation, and also the case studies regarding Myntra and that tick mark. That was very good to know about about them, right? We thank you, ma'am, again, and I thank all the participants for being here. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Glad to talk to you and all the best to all of you. Thank you so much.